Good morning. Can everyone hear me this morning? It might help if I do my microphone. Oh, cool. We're doing good then. Can everyone see my screen? Now, please notice that I have the risk disclaimer and hypothetical performance disclosure up. Please take a few moments to read this. Basically, you should never trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Any type of trading, futures, Forex, stocks, binary options, they all have substantial risk. And some people are not designed to trade because they don't understand the risk factor. Any trades that I take today will be done in a demo account. I will not trade my live account in a trading room. It's just a couple of more minutes before we get started this morning. I want to make sure everybody has had time to read the disclaimer. It protects me and it protects you. Okay, let's get started. We're going to be trading Forex probably for the first hour this morning. Most of the trades that I do will be done in a Nadex binary option demo account. And the first thing I want to go over is the radar screen. Now, MultiCharts has a scanner that is almost identical to this, and NinjaTrader has a market analyzer, not quite the same, but we have put the indicators into the market analyzer. Now, what the scanner or radar screen allows me to do is monitor multiple Forex pairs on multiple time frames. So in this case, you can see I have a 15-minute, a 60-minute, and a 240-minute. The first indicator that I have in the scanner is the THD stochastics indicator, and this just simply tells me when I have a market that is either overbought or oversold. For example, you can see that the Aussie dollar 15-minute chart is actually oversold. That means that the stochastics is below 20. The the British pound JPY on the 240-minute is oversold. These are areas that typically will move price up. And as you can see, the 240-minute British pound is going up, actually should go up to about 142.47. Now, you'll probably get a retracement back to this ATR before that happens. It's just one of our setups, okay? The next column in the radar screen is one that tells me when we have made either a pivot high or a pivot low. These typically will form reversal bars, okay? So this simply tells me on the 240-minute Aussie dollar, we just made a pivot high. Now, if this pivot high actually holds, that's going to push the market down. You can already see that the other two markets are moving down because the ADX is red, and that's this column, and the trend ATR, current trend, shows us that it is red. So this just tells me that we're having a retracement at the moment. We do have the THD volume divergence indicator. That is only for TradeStation and MultiCharts. And it just simply tells me when I have volume divergence. Right now, we don't have any volume divergence. We then have the THD ADX. And notice that this is telling me there is a magenta peak. The color of this cell is blue, so we are retracing downwards to the ATR. So if I click on this, you'll understand what I'm talking about. This is the magenta peak. See the little magenta dot there? That tells me we are coming down to the ATR, which is at 73.05. Does everybody see that? Now the entry for that was actually here on the 15-minute chart. This is your lowest point of risk if you were trading Forex. If you were trading binary options, you could have used this to trade a 2-hour binary to the short side, okay? You could have even went out of the money on a couple of strikes because it is being fueled by the 240-minute chart. Does everybody understand this? And let me do a pin. So in other words, this one is telling us it's coming down to this ATR. This one confirms it because it's at an ATR, which is your lowest point of risk. You have volume divergence there, again telling us it's probably going to go down. And the stochastics is showing you a hidden divergence. You have 3 indications this market will go down from this point, okay? Now, once it gets to the ATR over here, then that would be a totally new setup, and it's probably going to be to the long side. Any questions on that whatsoever? Everybody understands hidden divergence and volume divergence? Cool, we can go to the next one. Let's see, erase everything off the screen. And this is pretty much the same thing as the British pound yen. You see that you have your magenta peak here. I would actually be waiting for this to retrace again because I missed this entry. So now I'm waiting for a new entry. The British pound dollar, 21.47 to 21. There's only about 50 pips there. And I'm not seeing any volume divergence here. If this one comes back down to this ATR, I might be interested in it. That's not me snoring. That is one of my dogs, guys. Again, this one, you are seeing the magenta peak. You have had an entry here into that. That one did have volume divergence. In fact, the buyers actually came in and controlled that bar. You also had the hidden divergence on that one as well. You went from here to here. But if you look at price, you went from here to here. So you're making higher lows in price, lower lows on the stochastics. That is your entry point. So that was the ADX. We do have a pullback divergence also that will alert us if we have volume divergence at the ATR. Right now, we do not have any that is being registered in the radar screen. Now, the trend indicator is like one of the most important indicators on my chart, okay? It shows us the congestion areas. Congestion areas are when these white dots are plotted with an ATR below. This is a congestion area, and this did exactly what I would anticipate it to do, in that before it breaks this congestion area, it will come back and test this ATR. Now, in this case, it did break the ATR, but if you look at these lows, this is a higher low than this low. That tells me that this downtrend is in trouble. So it's going to at least go back to test this ATR. Anytime you see the price bars turn white, that simply tells me I am now close enough to the ATR to take a trade, or at least start analyzing a trade setup. So in this case, I could start analyzing here, okay? Same thing over here. You can start analyzing on these bars. This is your lowest point of risk. That's the reason that's my entry point. I'm not going to risk a lot in order to make money, especially if I am trading futures or Forex. Now, I'm going to, no, I'll do it on this one. Let me turn off the floor trader pivots in the zones. I'm going to bring up the trend indicator. Right now, I have the plot reversal bar set to false. If I turn that to true, you're going to see a white dot on each of the reversal bars. So each dot that has this white dot at the top or at the bottom is a reversal bar, reversal bar, reversal bar, reversal bar. Because it is at the low, okay, this is plotted at the bottom of the bar, then I know price should go up from that area. You can also change the color to any color that you want. For example, we could do magenta. Well, we'll do yellow. We don't have any yellow on there. So now, excuse me, so now you can see this is a reversal bar to the downside, reversal bar to the upside, reversal bar to the upside, reversal bar to the upside, followed by a reversal bar to the downside. So even if you do not know your reversal bars, if you turn that on, you can actually spot your reversal bars very quickly. Now, I don't need that, so I'm going to turn it off. Now, for those that trade spot Forex or futures, you can also see, if I explode the chart a little bit for you, that there is this red line here, okay? And that red line, for example, if you entered here, you are now trailing your entry with this little red line. You have to be in profit before you use that red line. Okay? So, in other words, right now, your stop is at 116.11. At the end of this bar, if it does not touch the 116.11 or close below 116.11, I would move my stop up to the next red line, which is currently at 15. Okay? Now, we don't have to use that with the binary options because binary options, we limit the risk on entry. Now, in addition to that, if you notice over on the radar screen, you can tell every market that is in congestion. It tells you right here, congestion. And if you are at a congestion dot or at an ATR, it also tells you that piece of information too. For example, right now the euro yen is close to the ATR. There you go. That means this is my entry point. I need to analyze the chart to see if I want to enter this market or not. In this case, I'm really not interested in entering this right off the bat. You've got increasing volume as it approaches the ATR. You're making higher lows over on the 60-minute chart. You're at an ATR on the 240. It's probably going to break that ATR. Okay? Any questions on that? Which ATR is about to be broken? The one on the 15-minute. And I'll show you the reasons why. Let me turn my, sometimes it's easier to use a pen. Number one, look at the volume. As it was approaching this ATR, look at your volume. It's increasing, okay? Over here, you're making higher lows already. This trend is in trouble. Over here, you're at an ATR, which is going to support price at least for somewhat of a bounce up, okay? That tells me, I would not want to take that trade at the ATR. It's not going to work out in my favor. I'm not taking it. Does that answer your questions, one? I think we had the British pound dollar was at an ATR now. I saw another one. I just don't know where it was. This one is getting close to this ATR. It's not close enough for me yet. And this is determined by an input that I have in the trend ATR. And I set it to alert me early because, I mean, I need to look at my charts. I need to see, okay, is this a trade I want to take or not? In this case, not really seeing anything right now. If we were closer to the 80 line and we could be overbought, I might be interested in taking it to the downside. But this one is telling us we're going to go back to this ATR. So again, not one I'm really interested in right now. And we don't have any market reports, guys, just to let you know today. Today's kind of a clear day as far as market reports go. So we're going to sit here and wait for something to show up. Right now there's nothing showing up that I want. And you can also, if you look at this column here, you can tell how many ticks away from the ATR price is. Now you do discard on Forex, you discard that last digit. So in this case, it's about 15, 36, 28, 25, 51, 40, 30. I mean, there's none of them that are close right now to an ATR. So I'm not really interested in taking any of those. I'd like it to be within about 10 ticks of the ATR. If it's not within 10 ticks, I'm really not that interested in it. Go see what the Canadian's doing. I don't trade the Canadian a lot. And I don't want to trade that either. Let's go see what the USD JPY. The USD JPY is one of my favorite ones to trade. I would like to see it get to this congestion area at 116.48. That's probably, if it's on diverging volume, it's probably going to push it back down to test this ATR here. That's what I'm waiting to see. These yellow lines here simply identify where previous support and resistance are. If you also notice, these congestion dots are lining up with floor trader pivots. This would be an ideal area for a price to move to the downside. It will just be a retracement, I think. It's going to retrace back to here or to 115.49. And this would not be a long-term trade at all. This, you're actually going against your move on the 240-minute chart. Let's see what the euro dollar is doing. right now there's just not a trade. Let's see if we have one on the Aussie. The Aussie's a little bit of a slow mover, but we'll try it. We don't have a lot of room on that one. Let's see. Come on. Trying to get this one for 35. It doesn't have a lot of time, and I can actually go in and type 35 and see if it gets filled. It might not. In which case, if that one doesn't get filled, I'll go into that one. There we go. Now this is a 5-minute setting. This is a 15-minute. If this pops down to 35, it would fill me. And if you look at this, you can see this is a high gamma trade. Does everybody know what that means? The premiums change very quickly. That's what a high gamma trade is. We're just going to wait and see how this works out. Long, Kareem. Both the 12-minute and the 45-minute, the 15 and the 60 are at areas of support. It should push price up. I was looking at the 10 o'clock, but they were too expensive. So I ended up doing the one at 9 o'clock, which are the high gamma trades. I think one was 35 and one was about 22. And when you're doing the high gamma trades, a lot of times you don't have a lot of room to manage your trade because it either moves in your direction or not, which is why I choose the low risk trades on them. I'm going to move this over. Do you see how this was at a congestion dot here, Kareem? Do you see the volume divergence on that one? It's right at the point of being oversold. Now the Aussie is a slow mover. That's the reason the gamma is high on it. Because basically you've only got, what, really 3 strikes that are being traded. I mean, you could buy it for $92, but it's not a lot of room there for profit. Yeah, when you're looking for the high gamma trades, you want to look for a slow market or slow period, 12 to 2. It's on a 5-minute. The Nadex chart, if you look at it, is a 5-minute Kareem. Don't pay attention to it because that's going to be whippy as hell. I'm trading the 15-minute. Okay. Now, if the 60-minute was not at a congestion dot, I wouldn't have been in this trade. You can't just go off of a 15-minute for that. So I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee. Like I said, I'm not going to try to micromanage this trade, because the risk to reward is pretty good on this trade. if you notice, this has to move. Right now it's about 5 pips. It has to get above 73.48 on this strike. It has to be above 73.44 on this strike. You know, it's less than 1 pip to move on that one. And it is a very slow mover. Sometimes it can move real quickly. On average, it's slow. I would like to see more buying volume come in. A ghost pivot is one that the third bar, Corrine, does not close either above the high or the low of the middle bar. You know, the true pivot works a lot better. For example, right now on the Aussie, this is a ghost pivot because this bar did not close above the high of that bar. This is a true pivot because this bar closed below the low of this bar. If you're looking at Nadex, this is a true pivot because this bar right here closed above the high of the middle bar. Okay? Right now, this is considered a ghost pivot because it did not close below the low of that bar. So this is true, this is a ghost. Yeah, this right here, that's a true pivot. That's going to hold stronger than a ghost pivot. This is a true pivot. This is a ghost pivot because this bar did not close above the high. I expect more from a true pivot versus a ghost pivot. Okay, I'm going to have to pause the screen just a minute, guys. Okay. Can everybody see my screen again? And it doesn't look like we're missing much. So, well, not necessarily, Ray, because it could close on the low and still be a ghost pivot. This one closed on the high. The next bar closed on the low. That made this a ghost pivot. It's actually the close of the third bar that determines whether it's a ghost pivot or not. Now you see what I mean by the Aussie is slow. It's a good one to do the high gamma trades on because it is slow. But you can find slow periods on just about any market. And this has still got to move 2 pips in our favor. It's like watching paint dry, but will it get up to the 73.48? Probably not. But remember, we were only risking 72 on that one. Five minutes, Kareem. Your expiration is right here. Let's see, that one was a true pivot because it actually closed above the high of that bar. So this is a true pivot. That means it should push price up. Let's see if it does. I have learned that the market will do whatever the market wants to do when the market wants to do it. Now, as long as it stays above that line, we're good. It may surprise me. You could always cover the cost on the 73.48. As I said, I'm not going to micromanage these trades. They're very low risk. If you do try to manage it, you're going to have to do so in the next 30 seconds. The last 2 minutes, you're locked in. Although you can set a profit target and have the profit target filled. You just can't see what the prices are. If you did not want to hold until expiration, you could always exit now on the 73.44. It surprised me. Went above 73.48. I didn't think it would get there. Surprise, surprise. Now, if it is equal to 72.48, you will lose. It has to go above 72.48, like it is right now. See how it's 48.4, 48.5. As long as it's greater than 48, even by 1, then you're good. Now, do you see how it went dash, dash? You're locked in. You can't get out of this trade. As long as it's 73.48.1, you'll make the full payout. Now, you will not make the full payout because it went to 48.0. It's got 50 seconds left. This is the number that I am entirely focused on. It has to be, the last 3 digits would need to be 481 to receive payout on that particular strike. And it's got 10 seconds. So on this one, you made the full payout. On this one, you lost the $22. Any questions on that? All right, let me clear the screen. Oop. Okay, we have the euro dollar. Now see, this isn't the same setup because this one has the ATR above it. Well, yeah, it is too. I take that back because you've had a pivot to the upside. Just don't have a lot of room there. There's only about 10 pip difference. And this one would not be a high gamma trade. Well, let me find this one. Let's go to the euro. Let's go to 10 o'clock. Okay, do you see how many strike prices are being traded here? Look at the difference between the buys. This is at 73, this is 63, 53, 42, 32, 24. Those are not high gamma trades, okay? High gamma, you're going to have $20 to $30 between your strike prices from one level to the next. All right, let's go see what the futures is doing. Good morning, Dinesh. Not ready on that one. No. Well, I don't see anything there, so we'll just go back to Forex. I would like this one if it came back to the ATR with diverging volume. I just don't like it right now. So I guess we're going to wait. I'm waiting to hear from my programmer now, Kareem. I don't think it'll be long. Maybe a week, 2 weeks. Because that one's for NT7, it shouldn't take us very long. And primarily, guys, what I'm waiting on is just to see something at an ATR or something at a congestion dot like we just did on the Aussie dollar. My least favorite to trade is the British pound. I'll look at this one and see if there's anything I want to trade on it. And then this one is out until 10 o'clock. And see, you've got 10 pips between these. The only one I would even think about doing would be this one at 73.50. It's not in yet. I'm not going to argue over 73.25. Let's see if we can get 72. Okay, this one we got 72. It's not my favorite setup, but you are going into the higher time frame. This one is overbought as well as this one, and I would be anticipating it to come down to 21.39. My strike is at 21.52. I might need more time on this, but erratic. Yeah, it's just, it's not as trendy as some of the other markets, Charles. Well, I'm not willing to risk 50 bucks on it, Dinesh. I would rather risk 28 with the potential of making, you know, more money. And I'm only going to be in this for 50 minutes, okay? The British pound, when it wants to, it does. Not unless it got to 21.72. Yeah, if you go over to the 15-minute chart and just insert the average true range, just, well, I've got one, it's called the bar range. I'm going to put it on there. And let's just do 10 bars back. The average movement per bar is about 12, but it's actually under that right now. So, you know, basically you've got 4 bars. Even if 2 moved in your direction, you would be good. This is not my favorite currency at all. On this one, I think I was only risking 28, Dinesh. I probably won't micromanage it. When I'm risking $40 and $50, I'm going to micromanage that sucker because I'm not losing that much. You know, 20 is like my average loss. So, yeah, I don't try to micromanage if I do more than, you know, or less than 30. Well, you're at a congestion dot on the 15-minute, and you're at an ATR over on the 60-minute, okay? Both of the stochastics are overbought, okay? Then you've also got volume divergence here. You've got volume divergence over here. Should this market come down? Yes. Okay? Will it? I don't know. It's whatever the market wants to do. Did you understand that, Corinne? You've got a line to resist price here. You've got volume divergence, and you're overextended right here. Then if you come here, you're at a level that's going to resist price. You have volume divergence. You're at an area that is overextended. It takes a while, Corinne. Yeah, it's not my favorite currency to trade in with. I much prefer the euro dollar, the USD yen, the Aussie dollar. You know, I much prefer those versus the British pound dollar. And some of it is because of this Brexit is up in the air. So it's moving very erratic. It just kind of bounces along. No particular direction sometimes. I love the British pound yen when it's moving. I mean, it's not unusual to see the British pound yen move 300 pips in a day. You know, it's very, very high volatility. But when it doesn't move, it doesn't move. And see, these you can tell there's, you know, it's not extreme gamma on these. You've got several strikes that are being traded at the moment. It has a higher gamma than the euro dollar. It has a higher gamma than the US dollar, but not as high as what we saw on the Aussie dollar. And that in itself tells you, if you're paying attention to it, it tells you, okay, there's not as much volatility right now in the British pound dollar versus the euro dollar or the USD dollar. The USD yen, I'm sorry. The euro dollar, let me check on it. Well, here's your issues on it, Dinesh. You've got two areas that are going to resist price up here. You've had volume divergence here, okay? You look over here, and you don't have a lot of volume divergence here, okay? So you're at the congestion dot, okay? But you don't have a lot of volume divergence. I would think that it would come back and try to test this low first. That's what I would think. And then over here, this is going down, which is against this one, because this one's going to be oversold and it should go up. I just think it will try to come back and test this low first. You'll see a higher low form on the 60-minute. And then what I consider a long position, sure. I just don't think it's timed quite right yet. Normally what you would see is this would flip the ATR and then come back and test the ATR, and then it would continue up. And you also have the daily is going to be pushing the euro down. And this is something that you really do need to consider, you know. If you're at an area that's going to resist price on a daily, that's pretty substantial. Excuse me just a minute, I have a delivery, guys. Sorry, that was them scraping the roads. We thought it was a delivery. Okay, let's see what this is going to do. We have about 10 minutes before the futures open. We may have somewhat of a retracement today on the Dow. Yesterday it went down. Alright, let's start looking at the futures because this is going nowhere pretty quick here. Let's go to futures. I would expect at the open we would go up and try to test this ATR. Let me see what we have for indices. Let's see one more thing. Now, it's a U.S. opening. I don't really want to risk a lot of money because it could potentially go against us. So I'm going to do the 18.3 19,831 versus this one with $42 of risk. Because I do think it's going to bounce up. Okay, I would want it to try to test this high, but it's the market opening. Okay. Okay. So I'm not going to risk a lot on that for the market opening. And I've got to answer somebody's question, so I'm going to put a line on here. And it's right here at the previous congestion dot. Actually, we need to be above that. Now, this particular one only has 35 minutes to do this. Okay. At the market opening, it could do that. Now, let's go back to the euro dollar. Along at 8.15. Okay, the close on this was 0566. Presuming you could have went out one strike to 70. Yeah, you could have. One strike can really lower your risk on these trades. Just one strike. Let's go. Let's see what gold's doing. I do think gold will come down here to the ATR. Now that ATR will pull up with price, but it's not a trade I would want to take at the moment. Don't know why I would take a short on this 12-minute when this is saying up and up. Let's go look at the ES. Yeah, I'm not seeing it there either. So we're just going to wait until the market opening and see what happens from there. Okay, I'm going to go take a break and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And this is why I do the very low risk options at the opening. They're automatic, Emily, so they probably did. Was it the USD JPY and the Euro JPY, Emily? Yeah, they're posted automatically. No, I actually want to see the Dow. Mm-hmm. It's not one there to take. Normally, this would be a signal to go long on the daily. I just don't like the volume on that. I would do it later today if buyers came in and controlled that bar, or we got volume divergence. I'm not seeing either one right now, so I'm not touching that one. Again, no clear direction for a 2-hour binary on those. We should get a retracement on gold. It's just not there yet. Mm-mm. Now I'm expecting this to come down and make a new low because it's huge volume over here, and I think it will take out the 19765 area, and I think that will give us the higher low over here on the stochastics. Now, because that is my belief that it will take out this low, you see that little magenta dot there? I just did a 20-minute binary to the downside. Now, it is going to have to do it within 11 minutes. But this was only, I think, $23 of risk. I think it will come in, Larry. It's not there yet. You got a lot of selling volume on this. And typically before it pops up, it will give you that divergence. Do you understand, Larry? Normally this will come down and test this. That's going to give you your higher low over here. Okay, all of those have closed out, so it was like 23.25 on this one. On this one, it was 22, and on this one, it was 19. Dinesh, notice that if you had taken the 62, you would have received full payout. Remember we were talking about that one? If it got cheap enough, you would do it. Yeah. And I think I started looking at something else. So, all right, let's go see what else is doing. That one's at an ATR on the 3. No, it's not. I haven't quite made it up there yet. Let's see. Nope, nope. Maybe. Mm-mm. See about the NASDAQ. Nope. Let's see what's available on the ES. There's just not enough room there for a profit, though. Okay, this is saying it should go up and test the ATR. This is saying it should go up and test the ATR. And this is a potential reversal bar based on this closing above the high. The problem is you've got overhead resistance is 2266. I went ahead and did 2265.4. It was right at $23, I think, when I entered. The problem is, if it just gets here, you won't realize a profit. Do y'all understand that? We really need it to go to the ATR that is on the 45 that's at 22 67.25. Will it get there? I don't know. Does everybody understand? You've got two time frames. They're both at congestion dots. They're both telling you that it's potentially going to go up to these ATRs. If the ATR on the 12-minute holds it, then you're going to have a problem. Okay? So let's watch and see how this does. Ideally, what I would like to see, this would be on my wish list, is for this price bar to close above the high of that price bar. Will it happen? I have no idea. One of the things I'm doing this morning is really limiting my risk to about $25 a binary. One of the reasons you see me doing that today is, number one, you've got gaps from the close of this bar to the open of the next bar is a gap. From the close of this bar to the open of this bar is a gap. From the close of this bar to the open of this bar was a gap. That's one way you can tell. The other way is if you're looking at the differences between the strikes, they're running about $20, okay? So that's unusual for the U.S. session. It's a higher gamma today on the binaries, and it's because they're moving slow. And that's usually when I say, okay, I still want to trade because that's my job, but I'm probably going to have a negative day, so I'm not going to risk a lot of money. And most of that just comes with experience with the binaries more than anything else. Remember, on Thursday this week, I'll be doing a webinar specifically on the 20-minute binaries. It will be at 2 p.m. New York time. And then tomorrow, I will be doing a webinar for Nadex at 11 a.m. Eastern time, New York time. We're going to be going through the psychological aspects of trading. Because that last bar did not close above the high of the low pivot bar, we have a ghost pivot, which means it may work in our direction and it may not. I thought Nadex was froze there for a minute. This bar on the 45 minutes says the next bar should make a high. This is like watching paint dry on the wall today. Very exciting. Would really like to see it take out the high at 2266.5. Not that it will, just that's what I would like to see. Yeah, you do. And I mean, to give you an example, Corinne, normally the difference between these premiums at this time of morning with the U.S. session is about $5. Look at the differences in these, okay? That's telling you it's a very slow market, okay? Slower markets are harder to trade the 2-hour binary zone, or, you know, in my opinion anyway. But that's the reason I pointed out today. Normally, I'll take $30, $40 trades and manage it, okay? But seeing how slow the markets were this morning, nah. You know, you'll drive yourself crazy trying to manage a trade at $20. It's something I can live with. I know on entry I can lose 25 bucks. I'll be okay. And I typically will trade smaller contracts too, Kareem. Sometimes you see I'm always trading 10 contracts and then all of a sudden I'm down to 5 contracts. It's usually something I'm seeing in the market. I would like to see it flip the ATR over on the 12-minute chart. I would really like it to get to that 2267 over on the 45. But I forgot what the risk was on this. The risk on that was 27. These are really, really small risk trades today. Right now, you could exit at the same amount as what the risk was, which was 27. That would be a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio or a return on investment of 100%. And sometimes you do it just because you think, okay, it might not stay above this area for expiration. So you just go ahead and exit at the 100%. That's what the market's trying to give you. From the look on the volume on the 12-minute, I would think it would break that ATR. Could be wrong, but that's what I think. And there's only 23 minutes until expiration. What was your risk on it, Curry? It's not a bad trade either way. You made money. Your risk was $14. You did a good job. It really just requires patience, Curry. Yeah, slow days today. You don't necessarily want to do a 2-hour if, for example, on this one, let's say over here, do you see how you've got the line of congestion dots? So it flipped the ATR. We expect it to test the ATR. You don't want to get into a full 2-hour binary on that, okay? Sometimes I'll take it with just 45 minutes left in the bar, okay? But something that is like what we're trading right now, we're just expecting it to go up. You know, we may need more time for it to get there just because the market's so freaking slow. And I don't like slow markets unless I'm trading the gamma trades. And that's what you did. You traded a high gamma trade. I love those trades. Back about 2 years ago, Corrine, we could get them for $5. And I was trading them things like crazy, man. On a $14 risk, it's phenomenal. It's great. That's what we do. I've seen it too many times go in your direction and be a perfect trade, and then 2 minutes before expiration, they take it in the opposite direction. That's why I don't usually hold until expiration. I would like to get more out of this trade, you know, 27, 27, 54. This, I would like to get that. I have doubled my risk, If it was a moving market and it shot up, if it gets to 90, I'm out of it. I mean, it's just not worth the extra $10 to me. Today is one of those days the market will put you to sleep. Okay, it's trying to flip the ATR now. Yes, on the 12 minute. You are getting potential volume divergence on that 12 minute. And you're almost at the point of being overbought. It means that it broke the resistance in that area one. So what will happen, it will break this resistance area, but then it will come back and test the new one for support. That's what it's doing now on this 45 minute one. It broke this ATR, formed the congestion dot, and now it's coming back to test to make sure that this is going to offer resistance for price to move down. Yeah, I would anticipate it going back to the congestion dot and actually breaking through it. You see how it's trying to give you 32.75 right now? With it being at this ATR with volume divergence, I think I'm going to take that because I don't like that. And I don't care what it does after that, because this is an area that is really crucial because you've got the previous high here. You're not seeing a lot of buyers coming in. I'm not going to stick with that until expiration. But my new trade setup, and this would be because you are trading a 45-minute one, watch out for the 180. I forgot we were at a congestion dot there. Okay, so target either 2270. I'd probably go right in the middle and target about 2269 on that one for it to be below that area by 4:15. Do not do a 2-hour binary. Do a daily. Understand? And that is it for today. I will be in the Nadex room tomorrow, and we'll be talking about why 95% of all traders fail. So they will be recording it, and they will send out an email to everyone as well. That's it for me today. Any questions, guys? I did record this